Hello everyone, as you might be able to tell from the thumbnail and my attire and my little friend here, today I'm going to be doing the Pokemon Go tag and I am so excited for it. I was actually tagged by two people to do this tag. I was tagged by Xena Haley and Sophie Elaine, so I will leave a link to Sophie's blog and Xena's booktube channel in the description down below. You should definitely check both of them out. They are both lovely girls and great book bloggers. So obviously you guys might know I am a huge Pokemon fan. Well, I'm a huge fan of the first generation of Pokemon, and I have Squirtle here because he is my favourite Pokemon. He is just adorable. So yeah, I do love Pokemon Go. I play it as much as I can. Admittedly, it's not as much as I would like to, but I do absolutely love the whole Pokemon Go phenomena. So unfortunately I am going to have to put Squirtle down because I have books to show you and books to share with you, and I can't be holding him the whole time because I have to hold books and stuff. So I'm going to say goodbye to him for now. He's going to sit right down here next to me, but he's going to say goodbye to you and you're going to say goodbye to him. So see you later, Squirtle. You are adorable. Anyway, the first question is starter Pokemon. What is the first book that got you into reading? And there are so many books that I could have chosen for this. I tried to think back to books that I liked when I was really young, and one of the first books that came to mind was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, of course by Lewis Carroll. This is obviously a really famous children's classic, and there are loads of film adaptations and loads of retellings around now, and I do enjoy most of the adaptations I've seen. Not all of them admittedly, but I love the whole Alice in Wonderland phenomena and culture and whole Alice in Wonderland themed things. I could also have chosen obviously Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but you guys know I'm incapable of doing a tag without mentioning Harry Potter, so of course Harry Potter is mentioned again in this video, but I thought, well, if I mention it first of all, that's kind of, you know, there are other books I could have talked about. I could also have said anything by Roald Dahl. I know that Matilda was one of my favourites. Anything by Enid Blyton, Jacqueline Wilson, so many books. I couldn't actually remember the first book I'd ever read, so literally anything by any of those authors I have just mentioned. The next question is Pikachu, an iconic classic that you will never ever get bored of, and that is, of course, you guys knew it was coming, it's here already, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is my favourite Harry Potter book, but when I talk about this book I am of course talking about the Harry Potter series in general. I don't know if it can be considered a classic yet, seeing as it started in the late 90s, so it's probably not classic as such, but it's definitely an iconic series, and obviously it's world famous. Millions, if not billions of people have at least read one book in this series, and obviously it's my favourite series of all time, so I will never ever get bored of it. So that is a really easy answer for that question for me. The next question is Zubat, a book you have lost interest in because it is everywhere, and for this I am going to say the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare. This is the only book that I have of this series. This is of course the first one, City of Bones, and this book is so overhyped by so many people here on BookTube and across book blogs and across the whole YA community in general. Everybody who has read this series seems to absolutely love it, and I've not lost complete interest because I think I will still really like it once I get into it. I think it's about demons and demon hunters, and I get that kind of vibe from it, and I do want to start reading it maybe by the end of this year. So I've not lost complete interest, but I think, you know, when something is very overhyped you kind of think, you know, maybe is it a little bit too good to be true kind of thing. But I will give it a go. I'll certainly give this book a go, and if I enjoy it, hopefully I will get to the end of this 6-book series. So it is quite a big series as well, which is maybe another reason why I haven't picked it up. But so yeah, my interest in it has waned certainly from when I first discovered it to now, but it's definitely a series I will still look into starting in the near future. The next question is Ditto, a book that reminds you of so many others but that you love anyway. And for this I'm going to say Divergent by Veronica Roth. Obviously it is a very popular YA dystopian, but I think the I mean the first book in the trilogy when I say this, because I think I did much prefer the first book to the second and third book. But the whole kind of YA dystopian genre in general, I think, is very, very samey. And I'm actually just waiting for someone to write a YA dystopian with something original and exciting to make me want to read it. Because obviously Hunger Games kind of started off, I think, this whole phenomenon of YA dystopian, and now we have Divergent, we have the Fifth Wave, we have the Legend trilogy, we have the Maze Runner series. So there are so many, and I think they are all really, really samey. So I would love a YA dystopian series with something a little bit different about it. So if you guys know of any, please let me know, because I do like dystopian, but I do just kind of feel myself getting a little bit bored with it now. So yeah. The next question is Snorlax, a book or series that you haven't started due to its huge size. And for this, I have to say It by Stephen King. This is something like 1,300 and something pages, and it's absolutely huge. I've had this book quite a long time, and I've never kind of worked up myself the energy and obviously the commitment to read this book. Obviously, when I do read it, I think I will read it alongside some other books, so I always have another option. Stephen King obviously is one of my favourite authors, so I'm sure I will absolutely love it. And from what I've heard from other people, I think this is like quite a popular one. A lot of people do really like this. So I think if you are prepared to put in the time and effort and energy into reading this absolute monster, I think you will absolutely enjoy it. I think I will absolutely really love it. So yeah, obviously I haven't seen the film. I think the film is probably, you know, more famous, more people have seen the film as opposed to people who have read the book. But obviously I always like to read the book before I see the film. So yeah, but it's huge, and I will get to it at some point, but I'm just a tiny little bit intimidated by it. The next question is Gengar, a book that kept you up all night, and it is another Stephen King book, and that is Pet Sematary, and this is quite possibly the creepiest book I've ever read. It's also, I think it's the creepiest book that Stephen King has ever read, because when he first wrote this, he put the manuscript in a drawer for about a year. It might even have been longer than that, because he was so horrified by what he'd written, and that is just a lovely little story from an author about his own work, and it just kind of illustrates how scary this book is. If you like horror that is genuinely horrifying and scary, I thoroughly recommend Pet Sematary. It's one of my favourite Stephen King books, just because it does generally shock you and scare you and leave you thinking about so many things once you've finished it. So if you do want a genuine scare, definitely Stephen King in general, but definitely in particular Pet Sematary and The Shining. But Pet Sematary definitely is the scariest one that I've ever read. The next question is Nidoqueen and Nidoking, your ultimate favourite OTP one true pairing, and for this I have to say Eleanor and Park, because although their love, yes, it is typical teenage love, it's also very real love. If you've read this, I can't say too much, unfortunately, for fear of spoilers for this book, but you will know that they are true soulmates. They are supposed to be together, but they're so real about it, and they're so mature and beyond their years about teenage love and where their love is going. And it's just a beautiful, emotional, heart-wrenching story that will rip your heart out and stamp all over it. But yeah, it's gorgeous, and I absolutely love this book. I will never stop loving this book. I will never stop raving about this book. Other OTPs I could have chosen Anna and Etienne from Anna and the French Kiss. I could have chosen Kathy and Heathcliff from Wuthering Heights. Obviously Lizzie and Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. There are so many that I could have chosen, but I think Eleanor and Park are possibly one of my favourites. The next question is Rapidash, a hot, fast-paced read, and for this I have to say Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This is a book I read really recently, and I read it in a couple of days because it was so fast-paced, it was so action-packed, there was not a dull moment, there is so much happening. There isn't time for you to get bored because there's always exciting, intriguing things happening right around the corner, and if you like books like that, if you like books that you are going to whiz through, I whizzed through it because I was reading saving it for a readathon, but I think even if I wasn't, I would have got through it really fast anyway, because as I said, there was just so much happening. I never wanted to put it down, and it's definitely one of my new favourite books. I'm recommending this book literally to anyone anyway, but if you like fast-paced, action-packed books, definitely read Ready Player One. The next question is Eevee, a series you will never get tired of seeing spin-offs for, and it is here again, and it's incredibly good timing. It is, of course, the Harry Potter series, and we have a, well, I'm going to say it's a sequel because it kind of is, but it's not really a spin-off, is it? So yeah, it's a sequel to the Harry Potter series. I haven't actually read The Cursed Child in script form yet, but you guys will know I have seen the play here in London, and I know a lot of people had issues with the story when they read this, but I would say that the plot is definitely not the best thing about The Cursed Child. I think if you were disappointed with the plot and the characterizations and things like that in this, I would still recommend that you try your best to see it performed, because I think scripts are supposed to be performed. They're not supposed to be read. You will still get so much more out of it by seeing it on stage, even if you were disappointed with the story. So I haven't actually read it yet, so I'm not sure like how different I will find it. I don't know if I will enjoy it a lot less than I enjoyed the play. Technically, you know, in sort of, you know, on paper I should enjoy them both the same, but I think the play definitely is one of the best pieces of theatre I've ever seen, and it is definitely the theatrics that make it that. It's not necessarily the story. So if you were disappointed with the story, please do not be put off seeing the play, because I think it is so much more than just the story. I think you have to see it performed to know how good it is. So yeah, if you were disappointed with the Cursed Child script, go see the play if you can. So yeah. The next question is Magikarp, a book that was surprisingly awesome, and for this I am going for Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. When I first read this series, it was kind of a breakaway from the norm for me, because I was very into my fantasy and my horror and my very kind of dark, heavy books, and this was me just kind of deciding to pick up something light and fluffy, and I'm so glad I did, because I raced through all three of these books last summer, absolutely loved them, and I think it is just nice and a refreshing break to kind of break out of the genres you do normally read, because sometimes you find gems that you really enjoy and that you are surprised by. But definitely since I read this series, I do read more YA contemporary, so you know, it's opened my eyes and it's broadened my reading taste, definitely. I just picked this up because I'd heard so many good things about it, and as I said, I'm really glad I did. So yeah. The next question is Legendary Pokemon, an overhyped series you are still really excited to read, and for this I'm going for The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. This is the first book, Cinder, and these are sci-fi fairy tale retellings. So I think they are about the fairy tale princesses. This is obviously about Cinderella. There's another one about Red Riding Hood, Rapunzel and Snow White, and they are, I guess, kind of sci-fi creatures. I think they are cyborgs and robots and androids and things like that, which sounds obviously really unique and really interesting. But this series is absolutely everywhere. It's all over BookTube, it's all over book blogs, it's all over Bookstagram, it's all over the YA community in general, and it's really popular, like super popular. But I'm still really excited to read it, because I think I will enjoy it. I love my fairy tales, I love my fairy tale retellings, I love people putting twists on classic stories and things like that. So yeah, I do have all four of these books, so hopefully I will read at least Cinder before the end of the year, and hopefully I will join the Lunar Chronicles bandwagon. So yeah. The next question is Mewtwo, a collector's edition you wish you owned, and for this I am going for this edition of the A Song of Ice and Fire series. It's the little mini leather-bound editions. They are just absolutely gorgeous. I know everyone who's seen these before, you will agree, I hope, that these are gorgeous, because they are, and if you're seeing these for the first time, I hope you will also agree that these are lovely. But the thing is, I wouldn't want to get a box set like this until all 7 of them were there. Obviously this box is only big enough for the 5 of them, and they are teeny tiny, so they are kind of more ornamental than actual reading from. I think you'd probably need a magnifying glass to actually read from them because they're tiny. But they are just absolutely gorgeous. They're so simple but so classy looking, I think, and I would absolutely love a full A Song of Ice and Fire box set in this edition, but I think they're fairly expensive and I don't think you can get them very widely. They're not very widely available in the UK, so I would have to kind of get them from outside of the UK, which obviously would be more expensive. But as I said, I would only want them with all 7 of the books, so you know, we are hopeful that 7 of them will come out, but I just think they're gorgeous. I really do. They're so cute. So yeah, the next question is egg, as in a Pokemon egg, as we have in Pokemon Go, a debut novel that you are excited for. And I first heard about this book at YALC, which was the Young Adult Literature Convention that I went to at the end of last month, and the author was there and she was talking about her book series, and I got really excited for it. And it is Storm Sisters, The Sinking World by Minty Das. This is the first book. I think it is only available as an ebook at the moment, so you have to have a look on Amazon or wherever you normally get your ebooks from, but it is fairly cheap. And this is the first book in a 5-book series about 5 female pirates. So that sounds really cool. It's about obviously kick-ass women, female friendship, action, obviously pirate swashbuckling type of thing, which is not something I've read a lot of, but I'm really excited to. So yeah, as I said, it's a debut novel and I think it is already out. Obviously I have it here, so have a look on Amazon if it sounds like your sort of thing. Look it up on Goodreads too. Sounds really cool. This is the first book, as I said, in a 5-book series, and I think each book will be from a different perspective of one of the girls. So yeah, sounds really cool if you like kick-ass women type books. The next question is the Lure module, an auto-buy author, and for this I have to say Sarah J Maas, who of course wrote the Throne of Glass series and the Court of Thorns and Roses series. She is just an author who I will literally buy and read absolutely everything that she puts out. I adore her writing style, I adore her stories, I adore her characters. There's nothing really I don't like about her books, so that's pretty self-explanatory. She's definitely an auto-buy author. There are loads more auto-buy authors, obviously Stephen King, J.K. Rowling, Rainbow Rowell, John Green, but I think Sarah J Maas definitely, obviously she's a very well-known author in the YA community, but I think she deserves even more love because she's such a talented writer, as opposed to being able to create you know, great plots and really great characters that everyone loves. I think she's also very talented stylistically and things like that. So yeah. And the last question is the server down, which used to happen quite a lot, but I've actually been quite lucky. And when I've been playing Pokemon Go, I've not actually been caught out by, you know, server breakages or anything like that recently. But the question is a book that you've been waiting for forever. And I have to say, again, The Winds of Winter by George R.R. Martin, which is the next book in the A Song of Ice and Fire series. I really want that book. Even though I only finished A Dance with Dragons earlier on this year, I'm so ready for more A Song of Ice and Fire, and obviously so many people are waiting for that book and we really want it. George, please give it to us as soon as you can. So yeah, and that is it for the Pokemon Go book tag. If you guys feel like you might want to do it, then please feel free to. I will of course leave all my social media in the description down below. I hope you're having an awesome day and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.